When I was 14, I planned my wedding.
This One's Wife, the Victim Olympics. A central theme of any narcissist is the victim mentality. Irrespective of how other people will see the situation, the distortion field that is the narcissism causes the narcissist to interpret events so that they are the victim. Where you legitimately point out that the narcissist has done something wrong, or you criticize the narcissist justifiably for something that they have done, your observation, your holding to account, your criticism goes through that distortion field and is interpreted as a threat to the narcissist's need for control. The consequence of that is that in order to motivate the narcissist to do something to nullify that threat, it has to cause the narcissist to believe that they are the victim of an unwarranted criticism, that they are on the receiving end of an unmerited observation about a supposed failure on their part, that they are the victim of an inappropriate attack. By portraying themselves as the victim, and it's the narcissism that does this, the narcissist will then be motivated to either attack that individual. For instance, who do you think you are saying that about me? Going on the offensive. Possibly doling out a pity play. Why do you have to be so horrible to me? I was only trying to help. Engaging in behavior, whether it is subtle or aggressively in your face, which is undertaken by the narcissist in order to nullify the threat to control. And thus, that victim mentality persists. Some narcissists make use of it to a much greater extent than others, typically those of a mid-range variety, especially mid-range because of their passive aggressiveness, and especially those at a middle range type B. If you'd like to understand more about my classification of narcissists, I'd encourage you to watch my video, The Ultra Framework, and also obtain the HG Malls, MAULS system that you will find within the Knowledge Vault. That helps you understand more about the different subschools of narcissist. The victim cadre is a mentality of almost helplessness and uselessness that is adopted by the narcissist to compel the pursuit of the prime aims. But irrespective of whether a narcissist is of the victim cadre or not, the narcissist will always have a victim mentality because that is a central part of how the narcissism works. It is to turn things around so that the true victim is viewed as the aggressor and that the aggressor, the narcissist, is actually viewed as the victim of the awful behavior of someone else. And therefore, in the circumstances, this enables that narcissist to nullify the threat to control. It enables the narcissist to pursue the receipt of fuel. This One's Wife, true to form, is very much somebody that exhibits that victim mentality, that she demonstrates just what a victim she sees herself as, that her narcissism tells her it's not her fault, it's somebody else's fault, that she's not the one that has caused the problem, but rather the problem has been done to her, that she is the helpless victim of the nastiness of other individuals, and therefore you should feel sorry for her, that you should support her, that you should condemn those that attack her. This is why she repeatedly plays the race card, mainly because she has no other argument, like many that utilize the race card, and she does so because her narcissism causes her to see herself as a victim. This victim mentality is something I've pointed out about This One's Wife some time ago, and it's been identified and explained further as a consequence of the observations of Justine Bateman. Nika Shakhnarova, writing in the New York Post, explains, actress Justine Bateman has blasted Prince Harry and This One's Wife for acting like victims since quitting royal life in 2020 and moving to the US. She didn't mince her words as she slammed the Duchess of Sussex's new Netflix show, With Love, Meghan, saying it received disappointing viewership because people don't want to watch someone play act at something they didn't earn. Which, of course, strikes at the heart of the inauthenticity of This One's Wife. In a blog post titled, "The Problem with This One's Wife, It's Not What She's Doing, It's the Victim Olympics Road She Took to Get There," Bateman hit out at the suit's alum following the release of her several business ventures, which, in addition to her Netflix show, include her lifestyle brand As Ever and her new podcast Confessions of a Female Founder. Bateman, who previously called the Sussexes ambulance chasers and disaster tourists after their visit to an evacuation centre following the LA wildfires in January, said the public is simply tired of them and their victim Olympics. The problem with This One's Wife, and her husband Harry, is that every opportunity they have explored or exploited over the past few years has been due to their very aggressive Victim Olympics campaign, Bateman wrote in her Racetrack Substack on Saturday. The difference between doing that 2 years ago and doing it now is immense. It's 2025, and no one wants to see victims anymore. No one wants to watch someone play act at something they didn't earn, she said, adding that she has even created the couple's own gold medal. She added, while she doesn't think anyone wishes This One's Wife ill, and that she has the right to release a Netflix show or start a podcast or two, people also have the right not to go along with another's narrative anymore. And indeed, the victim narrative is something that This One's Wife regularly pushes for the reasons that I've already outlined. She's not going to stop just because Justine Bateman criticises her. Indeed, her victim mentality will tell her, here is another example of someone stepping out of their line to criticise me. It's not fair. Unfortunately, a number of her supporters regularly utilise the phrase, I don't understand the hate for this woman. First of all, much of it isn't hate, it's simply criticism. Don't confuse the two. Secondly, well, you should be able to understand why people don't like her. It's because she lies, revises history, pretends to be things that she's not, is vacuous, fails to read the room, thinks she's something important, and has engaged in various horrible behaviours, ostracising her husband from his family, ignoring members of her own family, smearing members of the royal family. The list goes on. And if you can't understand all of that, then, well, it makes you something of a simpleton. People don't like her because she's quite simply a hypocrite. People don't like her because she holds herself out as someone authentic, when she's one of the most inauthentic famous people you could ever come across. And it's obvious. That's why people don't like her. She is a professional victim. And, like many narcissists, utilises this again and again in pursuit of the prime aims. As I mentioned earlier, some narcissists don't do it as much, even though the victim mentality is still there. But she is an individual that has milked the victim mentality. She has utilised the victim narrative time and time again, all of part of the pursuit of the prime aims. That's what Justine Bateman had to say about it, as reported by the New York Post. But what about below the line? Do other people see this victim mentality? Well, Roberta McFarlane writes, I agree completely with this assessment of This One's Wife and Harry, and she knows how to put the tears and teary look when needed. Her Netflix programme is completely phony. It's not even her home. It's rented and she really didn't do most of it. I, like the majority of people, are apparently tired of hearing or seeing her. She wore out her welcome a long time ago. MJ Lager. This One's Wife only momentarily backs a cause that she thinks will elevate her. She thinks Harry's money is an inexhaustible source and she's going through it as if it's exactly that. And Harry is no longer Prince Harry. He blew that title when he denigrated his family publicly. Harsh words for Harry there. Political woman. The only reason that Netflix renewed the show for a second season was so everyone can continue to have a good laugh. In reality, the longer the show drags on, the worse it is for Harry and this one's wife's reputation as laughing stocks. Wingling, Bateman's comments on places such as X are always insightful and tinged with fun. I really enjoy them. Lisa F. I absolutely love her comments. It's so well said. Everyone is sick and tired of Harry and this one's wife. For a couple who didn't want to be royals because they wanted to be out of the spotlight and live a quiet life, they sure throw themselves out there at every opportunity. Meg's missed PK. This is one award that they truly deserve. They'll obviously take a knee when accepting the honour. Julie Black. Well done, Justine. You have perfectly articulated what so many of us think. You've clearly hit the mark because Rachel is right here in the comment section, frantically clapping back. She uses a lot of accounts, but they all showcase her same whining, whataboutisms, and toxic envy. Vera O. I dare anyone to find a more unlikable couple in Hollywood than this one's wife and Harry. Marrying a prince should have been her greatest opportunity to show the world that girls can dream big and that dreams do come true. Instead, she turned herself and Harry into perpetual victims. Well, in actual fact, she didn't turn herself into a victim. That has always been her mentality. RTJR70, spot on. Anyone who looks for comfort from this one's wife will have bigger problems after they seek her assistance. Simply stated, this is a person who is the most self-serving individual on the planet. She's always looking for a better deal, and who will anything to get it, including leaving her old family, and soon her current family by the roadside. I cannot think of a person with less virtue. Guest speaker pops up. And we all know who that apparently is. Justine never got that big movie career. Her big screen attempt faltered. Jealous now she is. Ah, there it is. The usual cry of you're jealous, when in actual fact you mean envious, and people aren't. People respond to guest speaker stating she was mainstream with family ties on actual American and Canadian television, not like a cable TV D-list actress. Guest speaker responds, Justine was C-list, Michael J. Fox an A-lister. Suits ran for years. He can't let it go. Ophelia responds, guest speaker calls Justine Bateman jealous over this one's wife's success. Here is an account of this one's wife's business acumen and personal relationships. Does this not seem like a bigger falter? Business. Spotify podcast, Grifter. American Riviera Orchard, trademark. Pearl, Netflix cancelled. 40 by 40, no follow-up. Sussex Royal brand, nixed by the late Queen. The Bench, not a bestseller. Heart of Invictus, Netflix failed viewership. Live to Lead, Netflix failed viewership. Polo, Netflix failed viewership. With Love, this one's wife, Netflix failed viewership. Personal. Familial strife, isolating children from both sides of their extended families. 2. Bullied staff on both sides of the Atlantic. 3. Oprah interview, lies about the R word in the royal family. 4. Left the royal family, couldn't handle smiling and meeting people. 5. Lost royal patronages. 6. Endgame, leaked names of innocent royal file members she accused of the R word. 7. Popularity polls, YouGov poll has her at 19%. 8. Hollywood, thoroughly rejected her dull projects and called out disaster tourism. Comprehensive list there of her many failings. The fact is, somebody else responds to guest speaker stating, what are you, Yoda? Jealous now she is. I think Justine, like a majority of people, is just sick of me again. And she's just voicing what other people are thinking. So it's quite entertaining that naturally people agree with Justine Bateman. Kate writes, Harry and this one's wife are completely devoted to manipulating, deceiving and censoring the public. They're narcissistic, opportunistic predators who act entitled to validation, success and taxpayer funds. And whilst over and over people are agreeing with Justine Bateman, hundreds of comments, guest speaker appears as ever attempting to try and nullify the threats to control. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.